Hello, lovely people, and welcome to Philanthropic February, day 14. I'm Nicola, this is Stitches and Slapdashery, and happy Valentine's Day if you celebrate. I know a lot of us don't like to get sucked into Hallmark holidays and the whole commercial brouhaha that involves. And we should just be telling each other that we love each other any time of the year, right? But anyway, because I'm doing Philanthropic February, I'm trying to make a bigger effort this February. Last night, I was so tired and I wasn't particularly fluent and there was a lot of ums. And I was like, am I going to edit out some of these ums or I'm just going to leave them in? I'll just leave them in. Because what I was saying was important to me and important to a lot of people. And I was just trying to find the words to express myself. And so it wasn't very fluent. It was a tough topic that I was talking about at the time. So last night I started to cut out these lovely moths in the Daphne's Diary magazine that I bought a while back. And I cut the thin papery ones out from the page that was just a demo of what they were supposed to look like once you had put them together. And I'm going to put those on my kitchen window. They can go above my lovely windowsill full of toadstools, which is making me so happy. And what I love is that it's not specifically one season, and so I could just leave it up there all year round if I feel like it. So the moths that I put together, I have now written on them. So I decided to, as there were 4 of them, I thought I'm going to give one to each of my sons and one to my husband. I'm not going to show you the backs of these because I put their names on them. But on the front of each one, I've put inside, "You are loved," in gold gel pen. And then the one for my husband says, "Embrace the next chapter, take a well-deserved rest, enjoy new hobbies and old," because he's going to be retiring in about 6 weeks' time. Well-deserved retirement. Do you like how blue my hands are right now? You can probably tell my hair has been freshly colored again. I use a lot of Manic Panic on it today. I did dilute it a bit with conditioner. So it's probably not as vibrant as it could be, but it's still pretty strong color. And I know that the next few times I wash my hair, there's going to be a lot more coming out. But I do love it. Not sure I like the way that the back of my head looks when it's just the natural color coming through, which is mostly gray. And it just makes my hair look so thin. And I don't want it to look thin. I don't mind it being gray, but I don't want it to look straggly and icky. So I'm quite happy to have full blue back. Of course, it will wash out faster on the scalp side of things than on the ends, because these ends still have some bleached parts in, but I'm digressing. So that's the one from Mr. Stitches. This one is for my youngest son, who is very disciplined, very focused, very financially aware and sensible, and has some very strong goals about what he wants to do with his life. So I just wrote on his, "Maintain your focus, manifest your dreams." Because I think out of all of my 3 kids, he will be the one to get where he wants to go. He has the strength of spirit, maybe I don't know if that's the right word. So this one is for my middle son. And I put, "Push yourself to greater things, courage, focus, effort." He has been in a rut for a very, very long time, and he really needs to get out of his comfort zone and to deal with his anxiety and try new things. So I wish that for him all the time, every day, especially when I'm going to sleep at night. And it's hard to start thinking about things and then you don't go to sleep when you're supposed to go to sleep. My oldest, I put on his, "Make your health the highest priority, courage." He has started to go to the gym, and he's strong, and he is in a job that is very physical, and so he gets a lot of activity. but he needs to clean up certain parts or aspects of his lifestyle, and it looks like he might be on the right track to doing that, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's those made. I think the gel pen is dry now. Put those aside. I do have a little bit of an idea as to what I want to sew today. I think it's going to be another day of batch sewing 6 more items for the silent auction at the festival in September. I saw somebody, and I couldn't tell you who was making it, but I saw somebody making a little pencil pouch the other day, and it was really simple. I'm trying to remember who it was. I think it was somebody I subscribed to. Anyway, it was really easy. 2 pieces of fabric, maybe with some interfacing or batting or something, but I think I'll probably use interfacing. The 2 bits of fabric with some interfacing, and then add a zipper to that side, zipper to that side, fold it, sew it, and she did bind the seam allowances, and after she bound the seam allowances, she then boxed the corners, and I'm thinking, how many layers of fabric are you sewing through at this stage? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it like a pencil pouch, but I will make it without the boxed corners. That way I'm not struggling through multiple layers of fabric, because what she ended up doing after the binding was not just sewing the corners, but sewing them in a kind of a French seam. So she probably had like 10 layers of fabric at that point. No, not going to do it. Just going to keep it simple. So what I have to do is figure out which fabrics I'm going to use for that. I'm sure I will be hunting through my quilt cartons up there, because those are the ones I've had for absolutely eons. And I really need to work my way through them. Seeing that it will be a pencil pouch, I'll probably make it about a little bit longer than a pen or pencil length, and maybe about this wide. So I need to do some math, and then I can get started. I found some lovely fabric in the stash. I think I must have been given that in that bag of stuff my friend gave me last year, because I would have remembered buying that. I did a little bit of math. I'm going for a finished pencil case size of 9 inches long by 4 inches wide. And so I've added my seam allowances on each end. I've doubled my 4 inches, obviously to allow for it to go all the way around, and added my seam allowances. So I cut my pieces 9 3/4 by 8 3/4. I need 1 outer. And the beauty of having a one-way fabric with this is it doesn't matter, because when you turn it around and put the zipper in, the pattern will continue across the top of the pouch. Actually, the prettier side's going to be on the bottom, but that's okay. And then my lining is this, again, a random fabric I found in the stash, which is actually a batik. So, love it. So that's my outer and my lining. I have interfaced the outer with some medium weight woven fusible. And because it's a dark fabric, I can get away with using the black on that. I've got some number 5 zipper tape ready. Just cut what I need. Couple of, why did I get 2 zipper pulls out? I do not know why I got 2 zipper pulls out. I only need 1, because I'm only going to make 1 bag as a prototype to start with. I do not need the second zipper pull. And then I'm going to do a zipper tab. So I'm going to use the method where you have your zipper here, and then you put 1 piece of fabric on that side and 1 piece of fabric on that side. You make a little zipper sandwich, right sides in, and then you sew across, and then you fold it back like this. And that's going to be my zipper tab. Really simple way of doing it, because I don't want my zipper to go all the way into the seam, because it would be too bulky, and then the pouch probably wouldn't sit flat. It would cause some issues. So those are my zipper tabs. I have 4 of those, 2 for each end. I was going to use twill tape for the little pull tabs on each end, but then I don't have anything that coordinates with this fabric. So I cut 2 pieces of fabric that were 2 inches by 3 inches and folded the raw ends in and folded it again. So I will sew down both sides of that to make the little tabs, and then they will be sticking out of each side of the bag just to give you something to grab when you're unzipping. Like so. And then for binding, I may have cut this too narrow. I may have to cut this a bit wider. This is a couple of strips. I was going to cut them 5 by 1 inch, but then it just made sense to go to the edge of the fabric, and so they ended up about 6 inches long, but there's going to be some trimming involved there. So this is going to be for binding the inside seams at each end. And I will have to be careful to use a pretty narrow seam allowance, or I'll run out of fabric when I'm wrapping it around the seam allowances. But I've got a little bit more of that fabric yet, so I won't run out. I think that's it. I cut the interfacing a tiny bit smaller. What I've taken to doing now is cutting the interfacing about 1/8 of an inch smaller than the size of the piece I want to interface, because that way you don't get it sticking out beyond the sides of your fabric and getting on your iron. So I think that's a smart thing to do. I'm going to try this angle today. I'm not sure if it's going to work because I can't see what I'm actually filming because the back camera I'm looking at. Here's my outer. I need to cut 2 pieces of zipper that are just a bit longer. No, what am I saying? I need to cut 1 piece of zipper that's just a bit longer than my fabric. So the 9 3/4 is the length of my bag, and that's the side, that's the edge I need to attach my zipper to. So I've cut my little bit of zipper tape. I'm going to split this into 2 pieces, and I'm going to sew 1 over there, right sides together, and 1 over here, right sides together. Now I need to put the lining on there, and with batiks, you've got to be really careful as to whether you're looking at the right side or the wrong side. Sometimes it's impossible to tell. But normally the pattern is a bit crisper on the right side, so I think I've got it correct. Right sides together again. I'm flying without a safety net and not putting any clips on because it feels like it'll work fine without. Now that these 2 sides of the zipper are sewn in, I can flip this around so that we can see the pretty side. And I'm going to iron it so that it's all lovely and flat. Now this wonderful contraption is something that my son 3D printed for me. And you can... Oh, so I just realized what I did wrong. I was blindly putting the zipper in, and I didn't even think about adding tabs. And actually, when you do it this way, I don't think I can do it. I can add tabs because I'm sewing the zipper in 2 separate parts. So you'll have to ignore what I said about zipper tabs, and we'll just pretend that didn't happen. Oh my goodness, Nicola. Okay. This lovely contraption is something called a zipper jig, and my son 3D printed it for me. And there are commercial versions of this out there. Some people use, I think that's called like a little towel holder because it's a metal thing with a slot in it. And some people just use a fork. So I know it's a little far away from the camera for you, but I'm going to clamp this to the side of my table. Hope you can see. So you just need to have it so that it's basically a hands-free operation for putting the zipper pull on. So with my zipper pull, I'm going to put it on here. Now it's been a while since I did this, but I have to put it with the the rounded side up and away from me, I think. And it just sits in there very beautifully. And then what I can do is I can fold my bag over. I want the zipper pull to go here. I'm going to trim these two pieces to the same length first. Let's not use the fabric scissors for that. And then I'm going to take a little bit. You know what? I don't know if I have to take some of the teeth out. I don't think with the zipper jig I need to fuss with that. So I've got my two bits of zipper the same length. And now I'm going to put them, hang on, I have to think about this. I've got the zipper facing away from me, so I should be looking at the wrong side of my work. Okay, I'm looking at the back of the zipper. As I say, it's been a while since I did this. And then you just kind of grab this like this, and then you slot it into here and try and get it in beautifully evenly so that the two sides of the zipper are matching and your fabric is lining up. It's a little more difficult to do this when the zipper is attached to something and also it's joined my fabric. Yay, done. So what's nice about the zipper jig, it does the exact same thing as you trying to put it on manually, but it just gives you an extra hand, as it were. So it holds the zipper pull in place while you feed the ends of the zipper tape in. So there we have it. And I actually lined up the edges of my fabric really well. So that feels good. What a lot of people I've seen do is they thread the thing on and take it off the other end. And then they put it back on the other end. And I think the reason for that is so it makes it easier to sew this end of the bag. So I'm going to try that. I'm going to pull it all the way off. And then I'm going to put it back on this end. So it's a bit trickier the second time because once you've pulled the zipper all the way along and then you refeed it on to the beginning, if you don't get it exactly right, you get a little bump next to the zipper teeth. I'm happy with that. That is looking really good. So now I'm at this point. I have the zipper closed at both ends because of the faffing about with the zipper idea. And I don't need to leave anything open here because it's a number 5 zipper that just pushes open really easily on the inside. I'm going to get my ruler and just make sure that I've got the zipper centered on the end here. So the bag is actually going to end up a little wider than the 4 inches I intended because of the width of the zipper, and that is fine. I'm going to put my 3-inch mark right on the zipper teeth and just see if I've got the same amount sticking out each side. It's very close, but just needs maybe adjusting ever so much, ever so little. No, grammar, Nicola, honestly. Grammar. Ever so slightly. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so if I put my 3 there, I've got a 2¼ inches on that side and 2¼ Oh, it's so close. It's close enough for me. I'll throw a pin in each side of there. That is a very bent pin. Wow. I'm going to take one of my little pull tabs. Actually, I need to sew those, so I'm just going to do that first. Let's whip off the zipper foot. And I didn't do my top stitching. Oh my God, I didn't do my top stitching. So I know you're going to laugh at me for this, but all that faffing around with the zipper jig and the zipper pull was all for nothing because I had to take it off again because I hadn't top stitched. Oh my goodness, I am such a duh brain sometimes. Top stitching is done and the zipper pulls back on. Can't believe that I didn't remember to do the top stitching after talking about it. I've sewn down both sides of my little tabs and I need to fold them in half. Place them inside the ends here. I'm going to trim the excess zipper off now. Let's make sure this is centered up again. So I've centered my zipper, pinned each side. I'm going to slip this in between the two layers here so that it's lined up with the zipper teeth. I'm going to backstitch across the zipper teeth so that there's extra strength there. The beauty of this nylon zipper is that you can sew right across it without worrying about your needle breaking. We're nearly there. This would have been a lot quicker of a project if I hadn't screwed up in a couple of places. Now I wonder if these strips are going to be too narrow for this. If I'm really careful and just use 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, it should work. Wish me luck. And I'm not going to worry about having raw edges right here and here because it's going to be stuffed right in the corner of the inside of the pouch. I'm just going to sew from one edge of the pouch to the other without doing any folding of that little binding strip. So a quick push that way and fold it in and over, and I really left myself very little fabric here because it's got to go over the bulk of the seam there. Oh, I think I can do it. So that is sewn. It's far from perfect, but in use, this bag will hide those bits very effectively. Now it's time for the reveal. Now you see, this is why, hang on a minute, another thread. This is why I like to make one of something before I dive into 6 of them, because I iron out, literally and figuratively, any issues with it or things that I haven't thought through properly before I go and make a ton of them. And where my pokey tools got to, I'll just use these scissors, it'll be fine. Now it's a little springy, so you can see why I was originally going to do zipper tabs, because it's kind of springy and bulky just there where the zipper teeth curve over. I'm going to give it a little iron and see if that helps it a bit. I'm going to give this guy a little bit steam. Don't think my iron's heated up properly yet. Oh, it's getting there. Now, I can't iron the actual teeth of the zipper because I would probably melt them. So I'm just having to press the sides and hope for the best. Very pretty fabric. I already said that, didn't I? Okay, I'm going to unplug that before I do anything else because I keep almost tripping over the wire. Now, one of the things I was hoping to do today was to use my rainbowy zipper tape, but because this fabric definitely wouldn't have coordinated with it, I used the plain silver, and I think it looks great. So there's my little pencil pouch done. It is a little bit springy at the ends there. I think zipper tabs would have been a really good idea on the end of there, but it would have got in the way of how I wanted to construct it and top stitch and everything. So I think it's fine, because when there are things inside here, they're going to be making the bag more three-dimensional anyway. Let me see if it's a good size. I've got a pen here. Oh yeah, plenty long enough. Plenty long enough for a bunch of pens or pencils or double-pointed knitting needles or pretty much anything you want to put in it, really. So I'm pleased with that. I'm glad I've ironed out the difficulties. And I think I am now ready to go ahead and batch sew another 5 of those. But for now, I am going to switch everything off in here because Mr. Stitches and I need to go and do our Saturday errands. And he did say something about buying me some spring bulbs or a little pot of spring bulbs as a Valentine's Day gift. And considering he's never bought me a Valentine's gift before, I think I should jump on that chance, don't you? I'll see you later. It's after dinner now, and unfortunately we are far too early to find spring bulbs in a pretty pot to bring home and bling up the dining room table with. One of the garden centres we went to, they had lots of plants, but they didn't have what we were after. And the other one doesn't open till tomorrow for the season. There's another garden centre on the other side of the lake that's probably going to be opening soon. And they only open for a few months every year. I'm not sure exactly the dates, but it's probably March, April, May. I think by June, they're having their final clearance sales and then they're done. So they must do really well for those few months to be able to see them through the rest of the year. So no Valentine's Day gift. Oh well. Yeah, I went out to do my errands with Mr. Stitches without eating lunch first. So I was getting pretty hungry by the time we came back. So I had to make a snack, and I made a really, really nice batch of energy orbs. I haven't made those in a really long time, but when we were at Superstore, I found some bejeweled dates and they were a good price. They were quite a lot less than they usually are. And fresh bejeweled dates are just like the ultimate food. So I made these energy balls, and I will put the recipe in the description under the video in case you want to try them. They had peanut butter and walnuts and oats and cocoa powder and dates and maple syrup as well. So it's a chocolatey treat, but quite considerably healthier than actual chocolate. And probably quite a lot cheaper too. Have you noticed how expensive chocolate's getting these days? Just following the price of the chocolate chips in Costco. We used to get this massive 2-kilo bag, I think it was 2 kilos anyway, for maybe $21.99, and they're about $38.99 now. Oh, it's awful. Anyway, seeing as I still have to have a walk and a workout this evening, I decided I wasn't going to do any more sewing tonight, but I have cut out the pieces for 5 more little pencil pouches. I really like the thickness of this. I think the medium weight woven interfacing was just right. You could make a squishier one with some batting or fusible fleece. I don't think it really needs it. And it was so easy to sew. So easy to sew. No pun intended. I didn't get too bulky on the ends, so I liked that a lot. I have the bits cut out for a rather lovely blue one. And another blue one. Oh, I lost my little bits fabric there. And a mapley one. This fabric is one that I made myself a top with last year. It's a quilt cotton. And then I have one that's got rather Canadian looking maple leaves with the buffalo plaid effect. I love that fabric too. And this fabric, if you've been following any of my videos and if you've seen the tutorials I've done with the what were they called? I can't remember what I called them now, but it was a zipper bag for cross stitching and other things, and I did a tutorial in 3 different sizes. I think I used this fabric, little piggy fabric, and I think that's really cute. So I'm making one out of that. I wasn't going to go too light because I'm still using the black zipper, and with hindsight, this one was maybe a little light for the black zipper, but it's too late now. It's cut. So tomorrow I will have a little batch sewing session at some point, and then I'll show you what they came out like. So thanks once again for following along with my fumblings. I had my issues with that pencil case. I skipped a step and had to go back and redo it, and there was a couple of things where I was really glad that I had made a prototype before diving into a big batch. So, phew, live and learn, eh? So I'll see you tomorrow and have a great weekend. Bye for now.